for tuning in to Simply Sade. Today is going to look a little different because we're going to be working together today. I'm going to visit maybe 1 to 2 coffee shops and spend the workday there. Maybe give some tips on work-life balance and what it's like living and working in Los Angeles. So let's have a great day. I'm excited that you all tuned in, and let's get started. I found this cute little outdoor area at a sweat yoga workplace. So we're going to get into tip number 1. In order for me to maintain a good work-life balance, I like to implement going to coffee shops maybe once a week or like once every 2 weeks to kind of switch up my environment and get inspired by having design inspiration from visiting my favorite coffee shops. And it kind of just adds an interesting perspective from not being stuck in a house all day to actually getting out and doing something. So one of my favorite things to do that I definitely plan on getting back into is finding areas that bring me creative inspiration and creative joy. I'm definitely a person who needs to switch up my routine, because if it's just routine after routine after routine, I get super bored, and I am not the one to get bored. So yeah, my first tip is to diversify the locations in which you work. If you enjoy coffee shops, or if you have a working space subscription, take advantage of it, and you never know, you can get a content idea just by switching up your location. So definitely put yourself first, and definitely focus on your creative needs, because that'll help you flow in way more areas than you can expect. I need a lot of that vitamin D today, because Lord knows. But I think I'm going to head to the coffee shop so I can get more stable, because I have a lot of work to do and I need to be productive. So let's go. Another cafe is called Cafe Russo, and it's black owned, so a plus, because I love trying any black owned restaurant, any black owned areas. Black owned anything is where I'm trying to be. I came to Cafe Russo, and I'm so excited to get into tip number 2. Tip number 2 for maintaining work-life balance is to keep your purpose first. Like, keeping your purpose first is so important and it's so crucial, because we can get caught up in work, we can get caught up in the everyday life, but if we start neglecting ourselves, the very reason why the Lord put us on this earth, then we can start feeling burnt out, exhausted, discouraged, anything you name it. So tip number 2 is to definitely keep your purpose first, and to take time to work on your purpose as much as you work on your day-to-day job or work on your relationships. Your purpose matters just that much, because if it's neglected again, you will experience burnout, and we want to make sure that we are all living our lives to the fullest and with abundance. So tip number 2 is to maintain work-life balance by keeping your purpose first, taking care of your responsibility, and making sure that our purpose is prioritized is number 1. Because if we keep our purpose first, and we also manage our relationships and manage our day-to-day work, there's no reason to not live the life that God designed for us. So let me know what y'all are thinking about this tip so far. They're getting real fancy with the water, and it's refillable. So this is my first time at Tokaya. How you say it? Tokaya. I got the spicy cilantro bowl with Diablo chicken, queso, black beans. I swapped black beans for chickpeas and chicken. Okay, so I just got done eating lunch at a place called Takaya. It's a lot of people like to compare to Chipotle, but I don't think anything is comparable to Chipotle. It's just another great option for healthy, organic, quote-unquote Mexican food. I was able to get this spicy chicken bowl, and I tell y'all, this bowl was everything I needed it to be. I'm thankful because now I feel refreshed. I feel like I can finish the rest of my workday and be productive. So that brings me to tip number 3, which is to take a break. Take a break, take a lunch break, take a moment to just relax. Take 5-10 minutes, take your full lunch break, but even outside of your lunch break, take a good 5 minutes to just decompress, 10 minutes to just go to the bathroom and make sure that you are your best self, so that when you're working, you can be productive and make sure that you're getting your job done. Because without a break, you're just going to get burnt out, and we don't want that to happen. So step number 3 is to take a break. I want to make sure that we're eating lunch and taking the necessary time for ourselves and self-care so we can be our most productive self and our best self. So let's keep going with the day. Alright, y'all, so let's get into tip number 4. Tip number 4 is to practice self-care. When you practice self-care, you're able to make sure that you're hydrated, that you feel rejuvenated, you're not letting yourself just feel lazy or feel bad, and you're making your care a priority. So tip number 4 for maintaining a healthy work-life balance is to practice self-care. Self-care does not have to be expensive. It can be DIY. You can DIY your hair, DIY your nails. It's just about making sure that you yourself is taken care of, because if you don't take care of yourself, then who will? It's really no one else's responsibility to take care of us more than it is our own responsibility to take care of ourselves. So practicing self-care is definitely tip number 4. That should be a priority with maintaining a healthy work-life balance. I don't know why I made this tip number 5. This literally should have been tip number 1, but tip number 5, which is really number 1, the first will be last and the last will be first. Tip number 5 is to keep God first. Keeping God first will make a lot of things in our lives go well. It doesn't mean that we won't have trials, challenges, or obstacles, but when we keep the Lord first, it helps us with practicing those boundaries. It helps us to be able to say no. It helps us to be able to have peace with everything that we do, so we can also show up as our best self, so that we can also be productive and make sure that we're living a life of purpose and fulfilling our purpose day by day. So let's do a recap. Tip number 1, diversify your locations in which you do your work. Find places that can bring creative inspiration, that can add vision to your daily life. Step number 2 is to keep purpose at the forefront. So as much as we like to work for our day-to-day jobs or work on our relationships, it's just as important to make sure that we're putting work towards the very reason that we were born to live. Tip number 3 is to take breaks. You cannot have a healthy work-life balance if you're just burnt out, you're not eating, you're not taking breaks, and you're not taking the necessary time for yourself that you need in order to be your best self. Tip number 4 is to practice self-care. Keeping the Lord first is a part of self-care, because that's the time that He gets to reveal things to us. He gets to help us solve the problems and work through the problems that we're having on a day-to-day. We get to just refill on love, refill on joy, refill on peace and mental clarity. There's just so many things that comes with keeping God first, that if you don't, then your life and your mind and your whole atmosphere will be able to tell. And finally, number 5, which is really number 1, keep God first. So thanks so much for tuning in to Simply Sade and for watching this video on maintaining a healthy work balance. And I'm thankful that you all are here. So stay tuned for the next video, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Simply Sade. Enjoy.